It's that time of the year again. The year is about to end, the new year is about to begin, and everybody is going to be creating a list of New Year's resolutions. But do New Year's resolutions actually ever work? Can you think back to last year or the year before and confidently say that yes, you actually did go to the gym 3 times a week for the whole year? That you did meditate every morning for the whole year? That yes, you did start your own business? If you're like most people, then chances are you didn't keep any of your New Year's resolutions. Well, at least not after the first month. But there is actually something you can do to dramatically increase your chances to stick to your resolutions this year. And no, I'm not talking about motivation. What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from Seraph.com. I'm a manifestation coach, and today's video is all about New Year's resolutions and how to make them stick. If you're new here and you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of attraction and Neville Goddard's teachings, then start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you won't miss any video that could change your life. And if you need some extra help or my personal advice for your situation, email coaching as well as courses are now available. You'll find the link in the description below. Today's video is about New Year's resolutions and how to actually make them stick this year. Now, every year, people set New Year's resolutions, and every year they start highly motivated to really stick to them, to really change their lives this time. They're going to read 10 books per month. They're actually going to use that gym membership they paid so much money for. They're going to start their own business. They're going to give up sugar. And then, a week or a month later, the New Year's resolutions have already been forgotten. Now, if you ask most people why this happens, chances are they're going to answer that it was because they had no motivation. Motivation is one of those words people use way too often. And as a word, it doesn't really say much. I mean, what even is motivation? There are many motivational videos, for example, but what exactly do they motivate you to do? Do you actually do anything significantly different right after watching a motivational video or reading a motivational quote? Or do you feel powerful and in control for a few seconds before you go back to doing whatever you were doing that you interrupted to watch that video or read that quote? The truth is, motivation isn't the reason why you fail to keep your New Year's resolutions. The reason we choose to not do something like go to the gym or give up sugar is because doing what we've already been doing either brings us too much pleasure or the pain it requires to change the behavior is way too much. See, there's always a balance of pain and pleasure when it comes to any habit and any behavior. For example, some people really love running. Running makes them feel great. They don't run because of the benefits like staying fit or looking hot or whatever. They just purely enjoy running. Any benefits from running are just a bonus to them. To those people, running is a source of pleasure, so they don't need any motivation to go for a run. I have a few friends like that, and they go for a run every single morning, even if the weather is horrible outside. Because if they don't, they start feeling stressed during the day, or they have too much energy and can't sit still and get other work done. To them, running is their guilty morning pleasure that they do every morning to start the day off feeling awesome. Then, there are other people who don't particularly love running, but they still choose to do it regularly. Those people feel that the benefit running brings to them, for example, keeping their body weight within certain limits, staying fit, looking great, increasing their stamina, or burning a lot of calories in a short amount of time, far outweigh the fact that they aren't in love with running. To those people, there is a certain amount of pain associated with running. They don't exactly love doing it, sometimes they would rather do something else, but at the same time there is a certain amount of pleasure associated with running, staying fit, having their ideal body weight, increased stamina, etc. The reason they choose to run even though there's a certain amount of pain associated with it is because the pleasure is overall bigger than the pain for them. So it's worth doing. Now there's a third category of people that absolutely hate running. They hate it. They will only run if a pack of wild dogs or a lion is chasing them. To those people, running is 99% pain and maybe 1% benefit. So there's pretty much no way you can get them to run and they will never love it. I know because I'm one of those people. I just hate running. Within seconds, I feel that I'm going to die. My head hurts. I just don't get how anyone could love it. I don't hate exercise in general. I love other forms of exercise. It's running I can't stand. And if you're thinking that it's only because I haven't done it enough to increase my stamina and reap the benefits, that's not it either. I was made to run 4 times a week, every single week for years back when I was in school. And I was in a pretty good shape back then too. So none of that made it even remotely more pleasurable to me. Now here's the thing. Some New Year's resolutions fail just because you picked a stupid goal. If you hate running as much as I do, and there isn't a very, very good reason why you have to run as opposed to choosing some other physical activity, then that's just a very, very wrong goal to set for yourself. So do yourself a favor and pick something you actually derive at least some amount of pleasure from. Otherwise, you've failed before you've even started. There's no amount of motivation that will get you to run if you hate it that much. But here's the thing, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. What happens if you hate every single form of exercise known to man? What if you were always the person who just hated exercise, period? Or what happens if you want to lose weight and you hate every single diet? What if you cringe every time you hear about healthy foods or salads? What do you do in that case? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there is something you can do about it, and this time of year is the absolute best time to do it, right before you set your New Year's resolutions. Each of us has a fully fledged identity that developed over years. If you're athletic, that's an identity. Several factors in your life led you to develop into a person that believes that they are athletic, that enjoys exercising a lot and working out. If you've never exercised, you see yourself as not the athletic type, and that's also an identity. It isn't a fixed genetic trait, it's an identity you developed. But what if we could go back in time and change the events that formed that identity? There have been a few studies that prove that if you take people who say they hate a specific kind of food and you convince them that they used to love it at some point in their lives, most of them will change their minds about whether they like it now or not. For example, let's say you hate salads. If someone convinced you that as a kid, when you were too young to remember now, you used to absolutely love salads, these studies have shown that chances are you're going to start liking salads again, even if they were lying to you when they told you that you used to like them as a child. And it goes farther than that. You won't only start liking them, you will suddenly believe that you have liked them all along. Your mind literally forgets that you used to hate them up until a couple of months ago. Pretty cool, right? And it doesn't require any motivation to stick to that new diet or running or whatever it is that you put in your New Year's resolutions. If you convince yourself that you have been this person that liked salads all along or that loved working out all along, then no motivation is needed, because what actually happens is that you reset the values for the pleasure part for that particular activity. So, if we're talking about running, maybe you are the second type of person I described, the one that doesn't love it but tries to stay motivated to do it because of the benefits. If you persuade your subconscious that you've always truly enjoyed it though, you move into the first category, that of people who run not because of the benefits but because they associate running with pleasure. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you may have already guessed what technique I have in mind when I say let's change the past and make it so you've always enjoyed running or salads or whatever it is you want. Revision! For those of you who are new to this channel, revision is a manifesting technique that comes from Neville Goddard. And this is how it works in a nutshell. You have a specific memory of something you don't like. Let's use the example of veggies. you have a vivid memory of being forced to eat your veggies as a child and doing everything in your power to avoid eating them. Now what you want to do is change that so that it reflects a new version of you that you want to become. You want to become the kind of person who loves eating veggies. So you relax your body, you close your eyes, and then in your mind, you go back to that scene where your mom was trying to force you to eat all your veggies while you were crying and yelling. And you go into that scene from a first-person perspective, meaning it's not like watching a movie with a toddler you playing in it. You're actually that toddler again in that scene, watching out of toddler you's eyes. And what you do is change your reaction. Instead of crying and yelling, "I don't want them, I want ice cream," like in the original memory, you actually feel excited and say something like, "Yum, veggies," before eating them and enjoying every moment of it. For this new version of this event to stick though, doing this once isn't enough. So what you want to do is, once the scene is over in your mind, start over from the beginning and play it again, always from a first-person perspective. Play the revised scene, the new version only, not the old one, and play it again and again and again. You know you have done it enough when the new memory you created feels more real to you than the old memory. For example, if someone asks you if you loved eating your veggies as a kid, you immediately say yes without thinking. This is proof that the new memory you deliberately created has overridden the old memory. Now this may take 20 replays of the new memory, or you may need to replay that memory 100 times, or do 20 replays every day for a week before it sticks. But when it sticks, it will change you in a way where you won't need any motivation to eat veggies anymore, because suddenly your identity will have become that of a person who actually truly loves veggies. And you can use the same technique for anything you can think of. Say, for example, you've always been unlucky in love. Every year, you're determined to not repeat the same mistakes and not date jerks who don't respect you, and every year you find yourself crying over some guy who betrayed you or is ghosting you. You can go back and change that. Go back to every time in the past someone treated you like that. All those experiences that convinced you that you're not worthy or not good enough, or that you're unlucky in love, or the kind of girl that attracts jerks, and change each scene to something that is in line with the person you want to become. The one who is more than worthy enough, the one who has always been very, very lucky in love, the one that has always been treated as a princess. When you've changed these memories into what you would prefer, then you will find that you don't have to struggle to pick the right guys anymore, the ones that will treat you right. Because you've always been that person who picks the right guys, and you've always been the person who attracts truly decent guys, who shower you with love and treat you like the treasure you truly are. And what about money? What if you were always incredibly good at making money? What if you've always been the kind of person who could easily make money out of pretty much anything? Or the kind of person who is incredibly good at picking the right investments? Or an incredible entrepreneur by nature? What if your parents weren't struggling at jobs they hated? What if they were incredible business people and they taught you everything they knew about making money and being great in business and having fun while at it from a very young age? And finally, what about manifesting? What if you had found out about manifesting and the law of attraction and the teachings of Neville Goddard when you were 8 years old or 10 or 15? What if you've been manifesting your desires all these years? What if you have been having successful manifestations of big stuff ever since you were 10 or 15? Wouldn't that make it infinitely easier now? Wouldn't that remove a ton of resistance and doubts and lack of belief now? Wouldn't you be a completely different person if you had been an incredibly successful and fast and effective manifester of good things for the past 10 or 20 or 30 years of your life? This is how you make new habits to stick. And this is how you make your New Year's resolutions to stick. Keep in mind that this works the other way around too. If there's something you want to stop doing, a bad habit like eating tons of junk food, for example, or smoking, you can go back and change your memories into those of a person who hates junk food, or at least doesn't particularly love it. And you'll find that you won't have to use tons of motivation to stay away from junk food or whatever the bad habit is anymore, because you just won't be as compelled to do it as you were before. Because you won't be a person who ever had that bad habit anymore. If you like this video, then hit like, share it to help other people find it too and change their lives. And if you haven't already, then subscribe and hit the bell icon, because I put out new videos every Sunday to help you manifest an amazing life. Thank you for watching, and may you have an incredible new year.